Did. I was waiting forever.
Yikes.
Okay.
View, dashboard. Yeah. Hello. Yay, we're Crime and Cookies.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How's everyone else? How are you? How are you in the chat? How are you?
Let us know.
We want to know. We're curious.
Yeah.
How was your day? Mine was weird.
Why was it weird?
Well, I changed the dose on my meds, and today was the first day of them, so I don't know if I'm like tired because of that and like feel weird, like there's like a slight jangle.
Yeah.
Because of that or because I slept weird last night. So I don't. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, I haven't changed my meds in years because I don't want to mess with anything. Even though I'm worried that that's why I'm not losing weight, I'm like, I don't want to gain more. Like and I don't want to go through anything. So I'm just like, I'm just going to stay here at, like, right? I think that's as best I can aspire to.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Right. I also have been sleeping weird. I just can't sleep at night. And so then I felt so bad because like anytime Jude had a like time on with his teacher where he couldn't get up or like a break, I like fell asleep just so that I could catch up on what I missed last night, which wasn't very much, but I was like, I can't keep my eyes open. I'm so tired today.
Yeah.
But it worked out fine. He was able to get all of his work done. I was up for the parts that mattered. And what a funny thing is, I don't know if you know, I'm sure you know from Count Chocula, but do you know how like cats like will like kind of rub their paw when they don't like something? Like they do this.
Hey, good evening. Thanks for coming back.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, I actually still have some snickerdoodles left over from last week.
So cats will do this when they don't like something. And I helped Jude with an art project and it wasn't going well. And I left it on the couch and Bodhi literally walked next to it and was like scratching next to it. And he kept smelling it and scratching it. And I was like, okay, I get it. Let's see.
Oh, let's talk meds. That's my goodness, because of my panic attacks and anxiety. Interesting. I'm afraid to take sleep stuff.
Yeah, me too.
I'm afraid to like Ambien drive.
Oh, or Ambien murder. Or Ambien eat. Yeah, all the stuff. I don't want to do anything on Ambien that I don't know that I'm doing. Right. I am afraid to take sleep stuff because anytime that I've like when I first started having the sleep paralysis and wasn't sleeping well in the beginning of the pandemic, he gave me sleep stuff, but I would be up and then I would fall asleep. So then I would be like, it was all off. And I was like, I don't like this because I'm tired all the time. Like now I'm extra tired. So I don't know. I'm afraid of like a massive weight gain. That's why I'm afraid of changing medication.
Well, that's why you talk to them about it and you ask about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on 2 different antidepressants, and that's not the reason I got fat. It's other reasons.
Yeah. I think it's me. I think it's like that. I can't stop buying and eating pirate booty. I have to stop.
That could be a good place to start.
I realized today that I was like, oh, I'm out of pirate booty. And then I was like, today's the day that I stop.
That's great. Do you just like sit and let your workout video play and just like eat the pirate?
No. I switched to it is hard to advocate for yourself. It is.
Yeah, especially because you're in the office with someone who's an expert in something that you don't know. But
and I've asked before, and the doctors are always, when I always say I don't want to gain weight, they're always like, "Oh, not sure." And then they're like, "Well, how's what you're taking?" It's like they're afraid to give. Like, yeah, it's a whole thing. I think it is, and like sometimes, like Harrison is saying, it's hard to even ask because it's just like. Sometimes when you're in the doctor's office, you ask one question and then you don't want to keep asking questions, or you just feel like get me out of here, or there's like a whole bunch of things that could like happen.
Y'all need new doctors. First of all, ask all of your questions. I bring unrelated questions to the doctor. I had a follow up about something and she was about to walk away and I was like, oh, I just thought of something else. So
I actually really love my doctor.
Money.
I love my doctor. He's really, really good. I'm just a nervous person. So I will like be like, oh, Gina, because I'll just keep going. And then I'm like, stop asking.
Why? If you have questions, ask your questions.
You're right. You're right.
Because what else are you going to do? Go on WebMD and give yourself more anxiety?
Right.
Like,
That's what my ex-husband would do, diagnose
yeah.
himself on WebMD. And he'd be like, do you think I'm, and I'd be like, no. I wouldn't even let him get it out. Do you
Those,
think I'm dying? No.
those
Can you
are.
look at this thing on my arm? No. Mm-mm.
So I don't know if you noticed my co-star, aside from Gina, our special guest is this pumpkin. So I promised that I was going to carve it as like something to do and watch while we chat. And I posted, oh God, I'm knocking stuff down. I posted on my Facebook. I was like, hey, what's something like easy to do? Love the shirt. Yo, so this is from South Bellini. It's Philadelphia versus the world.
Oh, I love it.
I have it in two different colors. This is the pink colored one.
I want one.
Well, you should go to South Bellini. They also have masks with soft pretzels on them.
I have my Breonna Taylor shirt on, and
Oh, yeah.
I got it on Etsy from a POC business. I should look up what their name is,
If we're going to look
and
at people, we should plug them.
so that I could share it with people in case they want one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a Black Lives Matter shirt. I don't have a Say Her Name shirt.
I just got this. I have a Black Lives Matter.
Very nice as well. Oh, yes. That's right. Oh, she froze. Well, I'm going to start. I'm going to tell you my story about this pumpkin. So, Gina and I's improv friend, Dave, I posted on Facebook. I gotta do this. This table's too high. So I posted on Facebook, like, I need something to carve. I don't have any ideas. Can you suggest something medium/easy-ish so I don't embarrass myself? But bonus points for something like Mimi or Zeitgeisty or like 2020. So Gina and my improv friend, Dave, listen, it's a murder show. I know what to do with a knife. Don, I know what to do with a knife. I'm gonna cut some things. Yeah, so Gina and my improv friend Dave said, "Oh, why don't you do a spotted lanternfly?" And I didn't get any other suggestions, so that's what I'm doing. Of course, I was like, "Sure, I'll do that. I can do that. I can do that." Gina will be back very soon. Yeah, no. I think. Well, let me start. Let me start with my knife. So yeah, this is gonna be. I'm gonna take the top off, and so I figured it out. I actually sat down about 10 minutes before I was gonna go on. We were gonna go on because that's how my day has been. It's like, oh, I don't have enough time for this. Amazing. And I was like, let me figure out how to do a spotted lanternfly. It was hard. Okay, it was complicated. It's the only time in my life when I was carving a pumpkin that I had to like figure out where to cut and where not to cut. I drew a plan. Let me show you my plan until Gina comes back. This is my plan. Yeah. So I wrote cut where I'm supposed to cut. Can we get a close up on the knife? Oh yeah. So this is my KitchenAid, pink handle colored paring knife. Very good for murders and pumpkins. My big knife, my chef's knife isn't very sharp anymore, which is a shame. This was actually a birthday gift from an ex-boyfriend. He wasn't my ex at the time, but I kept it because he was a chef and he gave me these really good knives. Do you sharpen it regularly? We should all have sharper knives. We should all have sharper knives. Gina's back.
I'm so sorry. I don't know. I connected to my hotspot because my Wi-Fi is acting up for some reason. Sorry, everybody. Who knows why?
No, I did a little knife work. We talked about my knife.
You paused for me, and your knife was like this when you paused, and it was very funny. And I wish that you could have seen it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's my favorite thing. Yes. Neil, ask us your gear question. We will talk gear questions. I almost knifed my cat in the face.
Good. Oh, ghosts do cause Wi-Fi problems. You're right, and I do have one.
You gotta go. So I was telling the story of how it came to be that I'm carving a spotted lanternfly into
Oh yeah,
or
please.
nothing if I mess it up utterly and I'll just do a circle. I'll just carve a big circle and then it'll be shapes.
You could just call it a dead lanternfly if it doesn't come out.
I think about owning more knives and learning to sharpen them. You know, I bought a teeny little sharpener on Amazon. I know we're not supposed to say that, although we technically work for them now. Um, and it was only a couple bucks. It's like this big. It's got a well, the two ways to sharpen a knife are the first way that you do regularly is just to kind of take knives get like little metal flakes on them. And so the first way you do is you run it through a couple of times and that just gets the flakes off and that gets the edge that you have back to the way that it was. And then the second way is sharpening it and that actually does take a little bit off of the metal off. I'm not convinced your KitchenAid knife is right for pumpkins, but you got to work with what you got. Wow. I also have I also have a steak knife, but it's kind of small. I'm going to use that for more delicate work. And I also have, because of my plan, an ice pick.
Ooh.
I have every murder weapon.
Yes, you do. It's great. They sell the pumpkin kit. I have it somewhere. I
I
think
know.
yeah, 2 years in a row I carved, I think, a cat.
That's cute. I like that.
And it was the only time, the first time in my life I ever carved a pumpkin, and it was super hard. It was so much harder than I thought it would be.
I don't do it when I was a kid. I don't think that's a thing.
We didn't carve pumpkins. We just never did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I carved a cat. No, a cat into a pumpkin.
Look, it's not that kind of murder show.
I would never hurt a cat. Unless it was the cat or me, I might have to, but I mean, I wouldn't want to.
Then a sign
The
of
cat like holding me hostage and stuff.
yeah, can you see the cat? The cat's like sneaking in. I'm like, um,
I wonder where mine were just here and then they left me.
you can't.
Where's Bob?
So let's cut this part off.
So I was going to tell you a story beforehand. There's I don't know, I'm sure that your respective towns have political sign drama, and there's one unfolding right now. So there's like it's like a major-ish road but not a highway, not far from here. And one day they put up a huge Trump Pence sign, like I'm talking like billboard size. And like when I saw it I nearly drove into it because I was like distracted and like enraged and like annoyed. So I was just like, every time I passed it, I would like curse and like throw, like just say things. And then one day it was gone. And I was like, oh, it must have been like vandalized. So then like a couple days later, I drove past and they had all like, instead of one big sign, they had like a lot of little Trump pen signs hung up. So I was like, oh God. Then the very next day, I drove by it and um, it was completely graffitied. Like they were all graffitied out. And then somebody wrote, this is my favorite thing ever. Somebody wrote pussy, but they spelled it Pusy. And I just, I don't know why, but I laughed about it the entire night. Because there's something about graffitiing and then spelling it wrong.
I know. It's so good.
Every time I thought of it, I would just laugh and laugh. And then they covered it with another huge Trump Pence sign. And then I was like, what's going to happen tomorrow? So I didn't drive past there, but my ex did. And when he drove by, he started laughing and he said, the guy is out there right now trying to wash graffiti. And he said it might be red because he's got like pink, it's like pink and soapy all over. I don't know what it said. So I'm like, I don't know why. Probably because I'm boring these days, or maybe I always have been. But this drama unfolding, like the sign and then graffiti, like back and forth, is really delightful to me.
Oh,
I don't know why it's bringing me so much joy.
funny. I love that yours is just like one guy with his sign and people are just messing with it and he keeps coming back.
Yeah, and he's on a major thoroughfare, so I don't know if it's the same person or if it's just like anybody who passes it is like, no. But it is hilarious. to me. And I was like, I wonder if there were any misspellings on the graffiti today, but I don't know because I couldn't see it. So, does
Um,
anyone have any similar drama in their
yes.
town?
Our Facebook group is nonstop fights about people taking down other people's signs where they put them. And, or people are like, why are these Trump signs up? We hate them. And then people in the neighborhood who are assholes raise
Mhm.
the answer like, oh, you're dumb and a snowflake and there are signs that. So, because that's
It's
how people
like,
I don't agree with talk.
right.
But yeah, so, and then it's just every single day. It's hard.
Wait, wait, what'd you say?
Me?
Yeah, the last thing you said I missed. Because I was laughing at you saying this is how people I don't like
People I
talk.
don't agree with talk. Yeah. No, but so it's every day. Someone's like, "Who took down the?" But here I go again. I'm just gonna say it like a regular. Who took down the Trump signs that we put on Henry Ave? And then the next day, it's like, "Who took down the Biden signs that we put on Henry Ave?" I'm like, "Why don't you just both put up your sign?" Like, who? This is not. This ain't it. Like, if you want
Right.
to talk about mediocre
Like,
things,
do something else. Somebody made so there's a small section of road that I had to drive past to go to the polling place. It's not next to the polling place, but it's on the way there. And it's Trump country, but it's like a less than a block, but it's heavy, like there's a lot.
yeah,
And somebody made a Trump sign like out of like plywood, and I'm like trying to picture that person in their garage, like painting, like buying the wood or getting finding the right piece of wood and choosing the paint colors and then painting it. And I'm like, who is this? Who is this person?
I
And
really
then putting it like they put it on like a thing. It looks like it has wheels, so it looks like a almost like a wagon. It's the dumbest thing ever. And I was just like, who? Why? And why hasn't someone set it on fire yet?
I saw a photo on Twitter of at some corner in some rural area. There was like a corner of a field that was two roads intersecting, and someone had big like hay bales and Trump signs, and it was like a multi like installation. And the next picture was of it just burned to the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's childish. It's very childish, but
Incredibly childish.
but it's like it's because it's signs. It's so like we're not allowed to have them in our community, so nobody has them. But
Yeah.
I have a tiny little sticker in my window that says "We love our mail carriers."
Oh, that's
And I was like, if they yell at me, I'll take it down. But it doesn't say anything political. It just says "We love our mail carriers," which technically should be everybody, right?
right.
Um,
The mail.
but other than that, I didn't have it. I was thinking about maybe doing like a Biden or Kamala esque pumpkin, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
I could
I
do
don't
this.
know if I'll get in trouble for that.
Yeah. I'm gonna carve.
Can
I have another pumpkin. I'm gonna carve Pussy into it. Pusy.
USY, yes, please.
Why? Pussy. You're like, what is that?
It's my
Um,
favorite. I was telling my friend TJ because honestly, like this is like it's so dumb, but it's so funny. And I was telling my and he was like, oh man, we'll never know what the sign said today. And I was like, in my heart, it just says count.
oh, oh,
I was like, please let it have said that. That would be so like if it was just misspelled
oh.
words.
oh my god. Um, yeah. Our actually we in our neighborhood we've I guess sublimated the fight over signs into the fight over whether signs are allowed to be on telephone poles. So
Oh.
that's how we're doing this. And people who don't like whichever politician has their sign on the pole post it to the neighborhood Facebook group and they're like, I don't think this is legal. Typical blah 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 voters. Think blah blah blah. And then again in my jerk store voice. Um,
But
and then
like who cares if like they don't own nobody owns it. The phone companies
yeah,
own the telephone. Let them come out and complain.
I think it might technically be illegal, but it's not anything anyone's going to enforce. So
Wow. Neil wrote in 2008. It's so funny. I carved the words "gay marriage" into a pumpkin, and then he wrote, "People thought it was scary, but it was actually very friendly." It's like the sweetest, scariest thing.
gay marriage.
So funny.
Oh,
So
someone carved Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking into a line of pumpkins, and they are a hero.
I know. I love that. And it was perfectly done, by the way. It was beautiful. Neil says commitment. But like our Neil, do you mean commitment like you have commitment? Or gay marriage is a commitment? What do you mean?
Gotta commit to the agenda.
Your
Yeah,
pumpkin, by the way, is beautiful. Like it's a beautiful color and it's very symmetrical. You picked a good pumpkin.
thank you. It's from the Acme.
Good.
Um, yeah, they had some good ones. So
Neil wrote, "Gay marriage is a commitment, and commitment is scary." Amen.
yes,
Amen.
um,
Didn't the Pope come out in supporting same
yeah,
sex unions? Yeah,
the Pope,
it's
cool,
pretty awesome.
our Pope.
Pretty awesome.
I'm almost ready to get started. Um, Harrison said a little bit back in the chat that he didn't watch the debate. I did.
Oh,
I did for Twitter engagement, and I'll tell
yeah.
you, you did not miss anything except the president being muted was epic. But other than that, you didn't miss anything. It was just yelling.
I heard there were some good quips
Oh,
by Joe Biden.
um, yeah, the one I actually said before he said it, and then felt really cool was he said Trump was like, "You called me a xenophobe for that," and or you said I'm xenophobic because of that, and then Biden goes, "Well, you are xenophobic, but that wasn't the reason."
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
I like when he just says I like when he just says what the truth is.
Oh
That's
my god,
nice.
like facts, like a person going on TV and saying facts. Oh my god.
I know, right?
You don't know how much you miss something until you see it again.
Well, I can't wait to be like bored again by politics. You know?
No,
Like to
we
not
gotta go back to brunch. We gotta keep fighting.
to be no, I mean like I can't believe like I can't wait until I'm not like triggered every day. Like if
Right,
I'm checking Twitter to be like what level of hell are we in? That's what I kind
right,
of
right. It's just been
or like nothing happened today, like a sense of like there's upward movement and there's change, but it's not like every day is a nightmare.
right. We're
It,
like today the president broke no laws flagrantly and in public. Like,
yeah.
cool, cool.
Or
Yeah.
like whatever the news is like kind of like it's just like a charming like accident, like he wore two different color socks or something.
Well, remember the tan suit.
Yeah.
Remember the tan suit. All right. So I got. Oh, we're ready. We're ready to start carving. If you didn't see it, so now you gotta pick a side. I think this is the good side. Here's my plan again. I don't know if you saw it, Gina. So I
Oh, it's really good.
how I'm gonna do it. That's my idea. That the me who can draw things thinks the me who carves things can do it. So if this is a fiasco, we're gonna be mad at the Andrea of 6:15 tonight.
No, we'll be mad at Dave. He came up with it. No, never you. You always blame the guy who
Blame
came
a
up with
man.
the idea. Yeah.
Blame a man. Okay. All right. And this is a dry erase marker that I'm going to draw on the pumpkin with because they say that you can erase this, you can wipe it off so it doesn't look like you drew all over it first.
Hmm.
So I don't care. It's fine.
I think I used a pencil, but again, I've only carved a pumpkin twice in my life. So I don't know the rules. So I only watched the first two episodes of Unsolved Mysteries. So no spoilers for the others, please.
I promise.
say.
Um,
But I will tell you that when I went to Netflix and I hit play, I assumed it would play the first episode of the season, but
yeah.
it played automatically the second episode of the season. But you had told me the first one was about kids. So the whole time I'm watching episode 2, thinking it's episode 1, waiting for kids to come into it.
Oh,
So
that's
I
so
didn't, which has nothing to do, no, episode 2 has nothing to do with little kids. So
right.
I spent 90% of the time watching that very confused. And then I was like, oh, so I feel like I didn't enjoy it. I feel like I have to go back after we discuss it and watch it again because I feel like I didn't enjoy it as I should because I didn't realize I was watching the second episode. But then I saw the title for it skipped for some reason. It just skipped over that one, so I went back and watched the first one as well, and I enjoyed both of them, and I thought they were both very interesting.
Yeah. So, okay. So I went back to watch the second one, for me, the second one today.
Mhm.
And they were all out of order when it listed the episodes. And I was like, did I not watch this in order? For me, the first one was The Baby Snatchers.
That's the one I watched after the it's the woman in the lake. The lady in the lake is the second one, right?
I got that like fifth.
Oh, so we didn't watch. We only watched one in common.
No, I've watched all of them.
Oh, okay. So we can talk about the lady in the lake and the kid one because
Right.
those are the ones I watched.
The one that I watched second was the one about the old guy.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Oh my God.
Don't. Why is Netflix screwing with us?
Yeah, like, come on. We have so few pleasures these days.
Like, why is it like? Don't they know that people want to talk about this and they want to talk about them in order
Right.
and not by the names? Because I don't remember the lady who died in the lake. I just remember.
I don't know anybody's name. That's right.
I don't know anybody's name. So I don't know if any of you watched any of these, but first of all, I wish that there was a new Unsolved Mysteries. I understand it's probably like very expensive production, or I don't. Maybe it's not. I don't know, but they should have a new one every week. Is my point.
Right.
Because they're really good, and there have to be mysteries everywhere, right?
Yeah. I was hoping that part of the season would be any of the updates
Oh, right.
episodes because they used to do that on Unsolved Mysteries.
Maybe they should do that. I think they just need to release a lot more because they're like, it's so good. And like, what? Now I have to wait 6 more months for 6 more stories?
Right. Like, come on, Netflix. Solve these mysteries.
Don't they know that we're home and we've watched everything and we're bored? Oh, Zoe said, oh, Zoe's here. Zoe. Oh, we love you.
I have to email you. I'm sorry that I forgot.
We just literally were like, let's email Zoe. She watched The Lady in the Lake and the one with the missing witness. That one is incredibly sad. And Harry's there too. Yay. Hi, Harry. I was just thinking we should invite Harry to a show because oh, no, wait. Alexa, no. Stop it.
Alexa, no. Alexa,
I was
play song trivia. God, every single.
I think I played it once, and now Alexa's like on my jock every time. I think. I was just thinking we should invite Harry because he has a story for us. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or he said he would have one. Maybe he said he wants to do one. I don't know if he has one like in his pocket, but
I would love that, Harry.
We can have a Harry episode. That would be so nice. That'll be like 2 weeks that I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, right. It's wild having shows every week and having homework. It's like
it's hard because I'm like, oh shit, my homework. Oh, he actually has one. Okay, we'll email you, Harry and Zoe, individually.
Yeah.
But I didn't. The only ones I saw I didn't see the one with the missing witness. But the kids want. So which one do you want to talk about first?
Which one was the one with the missing witness again?
Don't tell me. Just tell he's.
Which one? Oh, you didn't watch it.
No.
What's the one with the missing one? Well, which one do you want to talk about?
She said Lena something. I can't remember her last name. See, we don't remember the names of these.
I never know.
Episodes. It's terrible. Let's talk about the lake one first, because the kids one. Let's go into that. That's hard. That's a hard one to start with, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Although I thought you thought that I wouldn't be able to like watch it, but for some reason I was like, I think I was okay because it was like a while back, and like I'll explain why I was able to like compartmentalize it when we talk about it. But so the Lady in the Lake story, for those of you who didn't watch, it's really weird. It's in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, and a woman goes to like church every. She's like one of those people who goes to church every day, and she goes at like 7 o'clock at night for like a daily mass, which is really short, and she never comes home, and they go and they find. I think the first thing that happens is that her car is abandoned and they see footprints in the snow down to the lake, but they don't see any body. And what I also thought was interesting that is that they kept talking about butt prints, and I didn't know that that was technical. I didn't know that they like followed butt prints.
Right. They're like, that's a size 12 butt.
It was one thing that shocked me because the police used it. He was like, there were foot and butt prints, and I was like, I'm sorry. Which, by the way, when I look at I don't know if any of you watched it, but when I look at the butt prints, it looks to me like it looked like a snow angel, but like that slid down the thing. It didn't look like to me, not to be like gross, but butt prints, I just expected like two round, like
Like a
cheeks.
sit down.
Yeah, and
Right.
it wasn't that. It was like a snow angel that slid. So it didn't look. It looked like body prints, not butt prints. But they kept calling them butt prints. Um, yeah. So they see those, but they don't see it. So I guess they find the name of the person who has the car. I forgot. I forgot. But they go to the house and they say like your mom is missing and this woman is missing and they can't find her body. So that's basically how it starts. So, and then they interview the family, but it gets weird as it goes on. It gets very weird. So it's like she has a son, I think, and two daughters, and then a brother, and then other relatives. That only one of them comes into play later. But they interview it, and the brother is saying like this was his favorite sister.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be like this, or she wasn't supposed to be. She was this like really loving, supportive mom who was like the matriarch of the family. You know, like did the dinners, kept everyone's life. She basically like kept everybody going. Was
Yeah.
like the rock of the family.
Yeah.
She was separated or divorced from the dad.
I don't remember.
Okay, and she was a bit like her kids were adults; they weren't children. Um, and it appears that a lot of them still lived at home, though, at the time that this happened. So, anyway, so I don't know what. So, what were your thoughts or feelings? Everybody watching or listening to thoughts and feelings about this particular one? I thought it was weird how it wound down. Like I was really into it at first, and then when it got into family stuff, I was like, I'm a little confused.
Yeah. I don't remember much of the family stuff. I it's so didn't her car left and came back?
Wait, I mean, you blurped out for a minute. What was it?
Like her car left and came back.
Yeah. After church, there was a woman. There was like the last woman to leave the. Harrison watched the first because I told you to watch the first and the second. I didn't know that Netflix was just like, we have no order.
Which one was first for you?
Yeah, which one was first for you?
Because we've all had a different first time.
Yeah. Okay. So Zoe's saying her brother and her cousin were pretty suspect. Totally agree. What's weird about the brother is that the whole time he's like, "I love my sister. She was my favorite person." Blah 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 blah. And then like later you find out and then the daughter drops the bombshell of one person I'm suspicious of is my uncle, and then I'm like, wait. The guy who said that his mother's his best, I was blown away because I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Um, Oh, his first episode was the kids getting kidnapped. That was
Okay,
my
that was mine too.
second.
That was
Um,
definitely a baby stealing ring, though, right? Like they were giving those kids to adoption agencies or something. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's mine. That's my take.
Oh, and he watched the Ray Rivera one, which was season 1, but we can talk about that one.
That
So,
is
so the okay, so yeah, so the brother had like something weird. He was like a bad or like a shady businessman, according to the show. This is not me accusing him of anything. But then apparently there's a cousin of hers who like called her, and they I guess apparently there was like a death in the family, and then there was like, this is like low key Trump family stuff. There was like money inheritance involved, and people were getting like ripped off and stuff. So like her cousin called her and had a huge argument, and when she hung up the phone, she told her daughter, if anything happens to me, it was this cousin of mine.
wow.
So,
Yeah.
and then like when the cousin goes back and talks about the phone call, he's like, oh, I just asked her this and she said no, and we hung up. Like he didn't talk about a fight that they had where the daughter like heard her mom like screaming on the phone.
Wow.
Like, but her mom wouldn't tell her what it was about. So I think obviously there's something. I think that's highly suspicious. The ex-husband was a little weird. Like there was some weirdness with the ex-husband, but they said like they cleared him. And then Zoe brought up the fact that the police were sort of suspect, and it was like the police like didn't really investigate it, and they do this a lot with suicide. I don't want to like, I don't want to group all police into one thing and saying like they don't investigate suicides, but I think when there's an idea of suicide, a lot of times we just hear that thing where they're just like, nope, it's a suicide, just that's how we're going to do it, and there's no real like investigation.
Yeah. And it's mental. It's kind of a mental way, kind of the way brains work anyway. I mean, you can argue, you can explain it without malice if you want to. That like instead of having an unsolved murder, it's easier if it's a suicide. And
Yeah.
so if you can get to suicide, that's what you call it, and you move on.
Right. And but I think what happens, they didn't really like investigate it because and okay, so this is the other side of it. I'm just going to stand up for a minute cuz I need to like
Take your
stand up.
time.
But I think that a lot of times in these cases the family is always adamant that it's not a suicide and that the person wasn't depressed. But
Right.
that's a whole like other thing because sometimes you don't know somebody is suicidal or has suicidal ideations. Like sometimes people hide that or are high functioning with their depression and anxiety, and you just don't know. So I always find it hard to when the family says they would never do that. I'm always like, I don't know if the family knows everything. However, it did seem like a weird thing to like, it did seem suspicious. It didn't seem like like a suicidal moment, and she had these like heels on, like these really high heels,
Yeah,
and
the
there was like
world
a
needs to
deep
know about heels.
embankment. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Zoe said, so, thank you. Zoe's smart, so she paid a lot more attention than I did. She said they declared it a suicide before finding the body, and yeah, that's obviously problematic.
Right, yeah.
Those heels, like they demonstrated like how she would have to get down to the embankment to like get in the water,
Yeah.
but her shoes weren't like scuffed up, and they were high heels. It would have been like really hard, and it was all icy. So there's like a lot of questions. But the car thing, so the one lady was leaving church late, and there were no cars in the parking lot, and then the car was back there.
Yeah.
So they think that the person who took the mom drove her in her car, did whatever they did to her, and then drove the car back.
Right.
Zoe said this is another thing. The daughter focused on the fact that her jacket was zipped up to her chin, which is like a weird thing to focus on. Zipping your jacket doesn't point to personality or if you're suicidal or not, and that's correct. Because she was like, my mom never zippered her jacket, which I don't either. But like if I'm going, I was thinking about that too, because if I'm going up to like a lake in
Right.
freezing cold weather, I might, because that's going to be chillier. So like you don't know. Yeah, you zipping or not zipping your jacket is not a personality trait. You're absolutely right.
Right.
But it was weird, like that she would choose that time and that way. Like there was no note or anything.
Right. And what if the butt prints are not even from her?
Right.
What if someone abducted her, did something to her, put her in the river because she was found
She
so
was found like, wasn't it like in Canada? She was found like in or like up way up, like not near anywhere. It was like I think 35 miles from where she was.
yeah.
They thought she went in, which and
So
there was no current, so they thought like it was
right,
impossible.
that's
Right.
another thing that there was no current
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in that water where the church was.
Right.
What if those butt prints weren't her? What if that was someone who just sat down and then got up and went about the rest of their life?
Right, exactly.
And so the person, whoever did whatever to her, brought the car back because that was the last place she was seen.
Right. They even said in the documentary, like, what if the person who even did that went over there to make it look like she went in the water there? Which I don't know. It could have been that or someone else. Like the butt prints, like I said, the butt prints aren't. As far as I know, butt prints aren't like like finite. So you couldn't take them to like a court of law and be like, this is definitely Andrea's butt.
Yeah. See, if you can see the cheek spread like a fingerprint.
She had a dimple in her butt, and you can clearly see that dimple.
So you can see the cellulite pattern is.
Oh God, that would be mortifying if they were like, "This is Gina's butt print," and it was like just this huge. I'd be like, "That is not Regina's butt print. She was working out, okay."
What if, like it was like a new dental records thing?
Right, right,
You
right.
didn't identify her by dental records.
Oh God, imagine if you're the
And
butt expert
butt
and you're just like, "That couldn't match up to that butt." Mm-mm.
a forensic buttologist.
I want to be a forensic, but I hate butts. As much as I think they're funny, I hate them. So I wouldn't want to be a buttologist.
Yeah, I don't want to know about butts.
No, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to have to study them, and like you'd have to see a lot of bad ones.
Right.
And I think they're mostly bad, to be honest with you. Too bad Harrison said. Too bad Sean isn't here for all the butt talk.
I know.
He's missing out.
We finally
Look
got
at this quality entertainment. um yeah, so it's like it's really I Zoe said like there was a piece missing. Dan said he's a butt guy but he doesn't want to study butt.
right. Like it's they need to retain their mystery. Let them be
Yeah,
mysterious.
I don't want to look at them at all, to be honest. I don't find them. I think that they're
Oh, I love a good butt.
I have no interest in them. I think they're gross. um
I love a good butt.
I'm glad that they're covered by clothes.
Yeah.
I would be happy if everybody just kept that part hidden. I don't like them. I don't know why.
You're allowed.
I'm allowed, right? Yeah, everybody has their thing.
You're allowed to have butts, man.
Yeah, they're gross. They're smelly.
You wash.
Still, I just. So. Oh, so yeah, Zoe said that they where did she put it about the key? I gotta go up. She said there's also details not covered by the show. Apparently, the police department got the spare key to her Lexus before her being reported missing. That's weird.
That's weird.
Yeah. So I feel like in these shows there is a lot. This one was a little. I felt like I had. Well, I thought that I was watching a different. I was waiting for little this to be tied into missing little kids. So I was like, oh my god, she got involved with a human trafficking ring. Like I was waiting for that. So when that didn't happen, I was like super disappointed that it was just like
Oh no, I'm very sorry.
very. But at the same time, I think it is kind of curious, like what happened to her, and I think it's because the police didn't investigate.
I keep shooting these pumpkin pieces out at myself. Um, where did that go? Is it in my dog's mouth now? Do you have that in your mouth? You do. You do have that in your mouth. All right, let's get that away from you, sir. Your treats. Sir. Come here. Drop it. There you go. That's right. That's right. You don't eat that. That's
You
yours.
guys came for the hot dog eating pumpkin and butt content.
Oh, boy. If I'd just been less enthusiastic with my knife work.
Oh, it's okay.
How's the cat? Hello.
My cats are totally ignoring me. I'm a little sad.
Oh,
Bodhi he usually sits next to me, and he's just like, no, thank you. Yeah, so this one was like I felt like there was something more that I wasn't getting. The daughter spent, as I guess anybody would, the daughter was spending tons of money on this, like getting private investigators and things like that. And the private investigators definitely did find something hinky about it. But sometimes I wonder if they find something hinky about it because then they get paid more to keep
right.
digging. I know that's not nice, but
Yeah, because you're paying, and also you're paying for that result. Honestly,
yeah.
so
But the police really didn't, and the police are weird in this one in that like they're very locked down with their decision of suicide, and they won't entertain any other. And
yeah,
I always think how this one is so clearly not clear that I don't know how they could double down on that. But it seems to me to take more work to double down on it than it does to just investigate it.
right,
Just ask some questions.
right.
So
Um,
go ahead.
no. So did you also watch the one with the kids?
Yeah,
Yeah.
one where you thought that I like wouldn't be able to watch, but I was actually able to compartmentalize only because it had taken place a long time ago, and there's something about like me, like stuff that happened in the 80s. I feel like, well, that was the 80s. I don't know why. It
And
could
like,
happen.
we were those babies and not
Yeah.
the parents at that time. Yeah.
And they were also, this is stupid because it's not true, but they were also toddler or infants, really.
They,
Infants and toddlers. So like I was like, well, Jude's older. Like not that it couldn't happen, but it's like you're able to like say in your mind, like, okay, it happened here at this time and it was this age. So,
right.
it was like you can distance yourself, but it when they the mothers when it goes into like the mom's pain, that was very, very hard to
Yeah.
watch.
That
Because
was so hard. I mean, because
you know exactly how
yeah.
I know exactly how that would feel, and I mean, it was devastating all around. But go ahead.
And I firmly believe that those kids are still alive.
You do?
I think, yeah, I think it was a baby trafficking ring. I think they went to an adoption agency that was really, really shady, or the people showed up
Mhm.
at the adoption agency and was like, "This is our child that we would like to give up for adoption," and they're like, "All right, here's some money." And then they sold.
I thought that was like just something that happened on Law and Order. Like I didn't know.
Um, there's been talk that some of the kids at the border who have been separated have been placed with adoption agencies that Betsy DeVos's family owns.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
Good. I
so
love that.
it's not unheard
Uh,
of.
Harrison said he couldn't watch it because of the mom's grief. It is mother's grief is,
Yeah,
especially being a mom, you immediately like that dials like that stabs you in the heart. But I think I think one thing that helped me is the seriousness with which the police took it. Like
yeah,
how that I think that saved it for me. If it was a situation where that happened and the police had taken it lightly and weren't still supporting the
yeah,
family, like these were genuinely good people who really did everything that they could and still like believe and are like the one detective was doing this show because he believes that these kids will be found. And
yeah,
so I think that there was that hopefulness that counterbalanced the grief in a way.
yeah,
But I felt like I was worried because these moms are so hopeful, and I was worried that I guess I would be the same. I guess I would want to
yeah,
believe the same thing, but I was worried if they were being given too much false hope um,
yeah,
in there. But
yeah,
for those of you who didn't watch it, the main crux of the story is that these two little boys at different times were kidnapped from a playground. And that their moms were like literally right there.
Yeah.
And I think the grandma was watching him, the mom ran to the store. But in both cases, the parents were like right there and they disappeared and were never seen again. And one was like 19 or 18 months, and I forget how old the other one was, but also very, very young.
Yeah.
Which that's why I think it's not that's why I think that they're hopeful, because it's kids that are young enough that you could rehome them and they could have a new family and not like
Right.
maybe possibly remember an old family, but not enough to be able to put it into words.
Right. Or try to escape.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's why I think it's good.
They they told that story, that crazy story of the baby that was kidnapped from the hospital
Yeah.
and raised in a woman, or she when she was a baby, like a baby, like just born. Oh no, she was an infant, and her parents brought her to the hospital because she had a fever, and a woman posed as a nurse and stole this baby and raised her till what age was it, Andrea? Like 20 something?
Yeah. She was a fully grown adult.
She was an adult. And I forget, oh, she needed her birth certificate for something.
Oh, right.
And
Right.
when she presented her birth certificate for whatever the thing was, they were like, this isn't a real birth certificate. This is fake.
Wow.
And so that's when she had an inclination. And so she followed basically that thread and realized that she was. Oh, and her daughter looked like she saw the whatever, I guess through her investigation, saw a picture of herself when she was a baby, and her daughter looked exactly like that. So she took a DNA test and she ended up being that baby that was kidnapped from the hospital and was reunited with her parents. But like that still brought me so much anxiety and sadness, because think of like you missed their whole life.
Right. Like
Like
you
you
don't
missed
know your
all
own
that.
world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just don't like know what they're
You
like
missed.
as a person. Yeah.
Yeah. You miss that whole joy of like everything, like all the moments. It's just, but like going back to, one beautiful thing that they do is that they do age progression pictures of those little boys and others who were kidnapped. And they show a bunch at the end of the episode. And it's really amazing because they do them, I guess, every couple of years. And the moms, like, that's their way of like, quote unquote, seeing their sons grow up, is having those age progression photos, and
Yeah.
it's really astounding.
Well, remember when we did the Solder children disappearance?
Yes.
Someone sent them a photo that had the one kid's name written on the back as though it was like him, and
Hmm.
they framed it and put it on the mantle as though it was really him because they just wanted it to be. So
Yeah. Dan is saying that happened to a girl from Willingboro, New Jersey. She was kidnapped by a friend of her mom as a baby. That is so wild. That is wild.
usually a family member or someone you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we heard that like on My Favorite Murder, they covered I think one or two stories of like someone who tried to like, I'm sorry for the language, but tried to cut a baby out of a pregnant woman's
Yeah,
stomach.
yeah,
And that is also horrifying. Horrifying.
yeah,
But I guess like people go through like not being able to have their own children and get like just out of their minds about it. Just want a baby so badly they'll do anything for it. But I honestly thought in the park, they said that they checked out the second mom, two little kids wanted to play with her son. And
right.
she was like hesitant to do it, but then let them play. And they were like way older kids. And then when they were playing with them, some man talked to her on a bench, and that's what distracted her. And the police said that they investigated all those people and they were cleared. But I was like, that was so suspicious to
Right,
me.
right,
Especially the guy who like talks to her and distracts her.
right.
I don't know.
It's an operation. It's a multi-person operation.
And they were also talking about like, so it was in Harlem in the 80s, and these women lived in these high rises where I think it was like several high rises, one next to the other.
Yeah, it was
and
a housing project.
and yeah, housing project, and there were so many people and so many places to hide that they said like they were there right away, and they immediately like were knocking on doors and things, but that it was like it's so hard to find a little, especially like an 18-month old in that
Right.
situation because there's just too many. You can't even get to knock on all the doors in one day,
Right.
kind of. So it's just sort of like, and I'm sure that those babies were out of there as soon
Right.
as, I don't even think they would have stayed in there. Yeah.
Right. They were on the subway within 2 minutes.
Stop it, Alexa. Stop it.
Alexa, no. No one wants to play your dumb game.
I
Maybe we
know.
could.
Please. So yeah, that one was definitely, and those poor moms. I mean, the suffering that you would do, and then the one mom ends up. So she had, I guess she had around that time had like an addiction or a drug problem, and people blamed her. They blamed her addiction, and so she still feel like you could see like the sorrow and like the self like blame that she feels that like it was her fault. And it's not her fault. I mean, it's just it's
Any kind
yeah.
of way to blame yourself, you're always going to blame yourself.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I blame anything with Jude. I'm constantly like pre-blaming myself with Jude. I'm like anything that possibly could, with your kid, it's just you automatically, I think, with your children feel guilt even before anything bad happens. So I can't even imagine how that feels. Dan is asking how your pumpkin's coming.
It is going good. I cut out all the cutout parts, and now I am making holes with my ice pick for the.
Hmm.
Oh, I should actually do this so you can see it, so you can actually watch. I'm very engrossed. I forget I'm like technically performing. I'm like, let me do my craft. Although I'm not.
Oh, I'm frozen.
You're frozen. You're frozen. You'll unfreeze. I can still hear you, right?
Oh,
Okay, there you go.
yeah.
You're back.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's happening today. I'm in the kitchen. I'm right below my Wi-Fi. I don't know.
I don't know.
Sometimes.
Almost done this way. Um. So is everybody else
So
watching?
that was yeah. Is anyone else watching? Do you love it as much as I do?
So my second episode was one about an old man who used to be a Bush administration official who disappeared. But it was weird. It was a very like Elisa Lamb kind of situation. Like there's all the security footage of him acting weird because he wandered around Delaware,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, did he have a psychotic break? Did he get attacked? Like, is someone after him? Is he trying to hide? So very Elisa Lamb vibes.
There's a guy like that in he was related to Penn State somehow. Ray Gricar, I think. Um and he was like a lawyer, I think. He was related to Penn State somehow, but he disappeared as well, and it's like really like I forget, I don't remember the details of it, but it's also like a really suspect situation.
Yeah.
Um he Dan said to put a red light in it when it's done.
Ooh, that's a
So
good
it
idea.
is the
I
it
don't
is
know
a good idea. I don't know if I told you guys, but one I have the Ring doorbell, and one day I got a notification and I looked at it and it was just a lanternfly on the camera. And I was like, "Oh, you can't come in."
I hate lanternflies so much. I hate them so much.
There's so many. I just swept my front porch. I do that occasionally. I actually keep a broom out there because I need to do it a lot, and it was all just dead lanternflies.
They've been getting very aggressive with me.
Oh, really?
Yes. Did you see the one flew into my hand?
No.
My hand.
Hmm.
I was just walking. I just come from the Acme. Was walking home, and like a lanternfly just flies into my hand. Oh my god, it was awful.
Maybe because I stay inside like a hermit. That's why they die outside on my porch. They're trying to get in, and I'm like, nope.
There was a time during nymph season and then the beginning of adult season. There was a time I would smash like 10 of them every single day when I walked the dog in the morning because they were just all over my door. And I think it's because my door.
I I naively thought like somehow this area this year was like not good, as bad because like everyone was complaining about them and I didn't see any, and now it's like they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And I had a huge, I guess praying mantis eat them, and I had a huge praying
Oh,
mantis back window. It was like I was like, what is? I could see something through the curtain, and it was huge. I'm like, what the hell is that? I looked. It was a huge praying mantis because I guess they're having like the time of their lives now because
That would be great
yeah,
because they said the spotted lanternfly had no natural predators. I don't think in our like environment. So if something has decided to eat them, that will restore balance to the force.
yeah. And praying mantis need don't they, aren't they in need of something to keep them going?
Endangered? Maybe.
Yeah, endangered. That's thank you for the word.
Maybe. This one's not as easy. That's fine. You don't need as many thoughts as your brother.
Trying to think of other murder stuff that happened this week.
Oh yeah, I didn't
I'm
look
drawing myself here. You guys just can't see it. I doodle when we talk.
at
Oh, Dan is asking how the Lanternfly got here. I honestly don't know.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. And I do know it can't like moved through the country or like moved west because
Mm,
this is the first year we've had them in Manioc Roxborough. Last year I saw like one at the Target, which is all the way out to the on the, like the borders. But then when we went out to King of Prussia, there were like thousands dead outside the building.
yeah, they're
So,
all over here. It's gross.
and my Jersey friends don't have them, so they're migrating. I think next year Jersey will have them, unless the praying mantises do their job. Um,
Praying mantis eye. Praying mantis eye. How do you say multiple?
mantises, mantises,
Mans. I don't know.
manti. I don't know.
So I think we're gonna get our pumpkins tomorrow. The problem is so we usually go to this place near me it's a farm and a creamery, and they have like hay rides and all the stuff. But this year they're charging
Oh,
to go because of I guess they have limited capacity. And I bought tickets for a couple weekends ago, and then I was honestly like, then I read that you could just go there during the week and just buy a pumpkin, and I was like, let's just do that. I don't want to like I didn't want to be in a crowded situation with people vying for pumpkins.
I did definitely just stab myself with my ice pick.
Oh.
So we knew that was going to happen. Check it off your bingo card. It's only moving a little, so I'll be fine. But I'm excited about this.
I'm excited to see it. It's like because you're hiding it, it's like such a
No,
mystery.
it's because I'm not left-handed, although I could do this. You fit this way.
Wow, you're doing such a good job.
Thank you. I'm very excited about this. Yeah,
I never thought about getting an ice pick to do it.
yeah, to do little holes, and hopefully the candlelight will shine through. And then so the spots, so this is solid, but it's where the spots are. So then the light will come through the spots. And then like this is the other part of the wing, and this is the part without spots, and this is those spots down here. So we'll see. We'll see. Um,
Oh, so I know we're gonna have another time to talk about it, but one podcast that I started listening to that I would recommend to everybody is Dead and Gone. It's the new
yeah,
Lindsay podcast. He did Up and Vanished, and then his career blew up from that because that got solved. And he did one on Zodiac. He did one on the Atlanta child murders called Monster. They're both called Monster, and I think there's another one on DC Sniper, but I didn't listen to that one because
yeah.
that one I don't know. That's like too I don't know. I'm not ready to listen to that one. And then he did a couple others, but anyway, this one is about. It's really good. It's about the how the murders of people who follow the Grateful Dead, which I never thought about the connection there, but you're talking about people who are transient
Neil is
following
very into this, Gina.
what's that?
Well, Neil is very into this. We were talking about this podcast.
And they're trans that's why I said like we'll do an episode, so I don't want to give too much away, but I'm just like the idea that they're transient and they're just sort of like free spirited and um one thing that the guy I had so I don't know if it's age or I don't know if it's like stress from the pandemic, and you guys could tell me if you're having the same thing or if it's just me and I'm just getting old, but my I'm just like not I used to have like an excellent memory. I could remember everything. And little by little, like just recently, I'm like a complete everything goes out of my brain. And I listened to the third episode came out yesterday, and I started listening to it, and I had no idea what he was talking about. I'm like, who are all these people? And I had to go back and listen to the last episode, which I just listened to last week, to be like, oh, right. I only had to listen to half of it, but like still, I had no recollection of what was happening. And I liked it, but I don't know if I'm just consuming too much crime. I don't know if my brain is fried. I don't know what it is. But so now I forgot what I was gonna say. But anyway, so like they were talking about how like when you're young and naive, that kind of concept, like you think, and you're doing something that you're really excited by, you forget that there are bad people out to do bad things in the world. And I
Right.
thought like such a like that really stayed with me because it's like I feel like I'm constantly like that. Like I'm constantly surprised that people are terrible, even I've been shown evidence of this constantly. But for some reason I can't retain like every time someone like hurts me or hurts someone else or is just like does something just completely malevolent, I'm always like shocked. Like I forgot that people are that bad and I'm like, how could I have forgotten? Why won't that stay with I do a murder podcast.
Right.
I mean, or a TV show. Like I do a murder show and for some reason I'm like I cannot to me like murderers are there and the rest of the population is here, but I guess it's not really like that. It's like murderers are here and we're kind of here, like there's only really something small I guess that keeps us where I thought there was like a wide gulf. So I'm just like
Well,
yeah, like I would have been that naive. I would still be that naive person who's like, "Oh, you're going to kill me," and now I'm in this terrible situation and I don't know how to get out of it because, like, I just don't. I'm so like trusting.
yeah, especially when you're in a community like that, it's so similar and so like about peace and love, and you all love this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a common interest which bonds you. So,
It
yeah.
would be like if there were murderers in the. Harrison wants to know how I was never kidnapped, and it's so accurate. I really don't know. I really don't know because I'm that night. My mom said that when I was a little kid, I would walk off with anybody. I would just talk to anybody and walk off with them. Like I had no sense. And as an adult, I'm not changed at all. Like
Okay.
if anybody could engage me in conversation and then all of a sudden I'd be in a trunk. Like that's how I feel. Like I'm just like I need to be reminded. But if I saw Jude doing it, I would be like,
Right.
"Whoa, that person is a murderer." But if it's me, I'm like completely naive. I told you like yesterday when I was watching that show, the one in Harlem, I was like everyone had a New York accent and I was like, "Oh, these are all nice people." Cuz
Because that's who you grew up with.
so everyone, my family, most of, I think, well, all of my family when I was a kid was from New York. And even though I lived in New Jersey, like everyone had a really thick accent my whole life. So, I mean, family. So I always found the New York accent really like comforting. And like I immediately like trust and like somebody with a New York accent, which is probably like the opposite of how I should be. But if somebody has like a thick New York accent, I'm immediately like, what a good person. That's all it takes is like someone with a New York accent to be like to just like engage me in conversation. Next thing you know,
Like, you want to kidnap me?
yeah, I'm also in a lake in Grosse
Ah,
Pointe.
now I really stabbed myself.
Oh no, are you okay? Don't.
I'm okay.
All right, don't murder yourself.
I know.
That
That
would be a sad ending to this. The season's not over yet. Don't.
If I die before I turn it around, you won't even know how good I'm doing.
You have to give in your will who's going to take your spot.
All right.
It will be Count Chocula. He and I will have the best talks.
He would. He's very chatty. We're almost done. I just need to put like 2 more holes in it. Okay, and then like, oh wow, that's really good.
Do you need a band-aid?
No, because I can't actually see the wound. It's just a little puncture.
Okay.
I'm gonna get rid of some of the dry erase marker.
I'm excited to see this lit up. You
Now,
probably don't have a red light.
I don't. I'm gonna just put a candle on it.
I'm excited.
Also, this is the second time I've bled on this show.
It is. What did you do the first time?
Remember, I got a nosebleed because my head was
Right.
dropped
That's
out
right.
of
That's
my arm.
right.
Yeah, come on. I could also get a wet rag, but I don't feel
One
like.
time Drew was on our show, our live show, and he talked about how he was almost kidnapped as a kid. Remember that? It was like our live show. Yeah.
Because we had a show with a person who was actually kidnapped.
Yeah, we had a show, and our one of our it was the same show. Our guest was kidnapped by he and his sister were kidnapped by their mom. There was like a custody battle,
Yeah.
and for a while they had been kidnapped. And when I was a kid, my one of my mom's best friend, her two sons were kidnapped by her husband. And I remember both, and they were kidnapped twice. And I can remember that
Wow.
time of her not knowing where they were, and then them coming home. And like, obviously, I was a kid, so I didn't know a lot about it, but it must have been absolutely terrifying. And her ex husband, was from Transylvania. That was the other weird part.
That's so random.
Yeah. She was from Israel, and her husband was from Transylvania. My mom said he was one of the strangest people she's ever known.
Wow.
And I'm not saying anything about people from Transylvania. I'm sure you're wonderful
They're
people.
all lovely.
He had like a it was like a stereotype.
Yeah.
We love our Transylvanian friends.
We love all our vampire fans.
All of them.
All right. I'm just getting like the stringy ones out of the way.
Oh, by the way, they're sold out of that photography tour at Penhurst, and I'm heartbroken because they end on November 14th. And I called
Oh,
to see if I could get on a wait list, and no one ever called me back. So I'm going to call again. But they have a private tour, and I'm going to see how many people you need for the private tour. Because if they'll do it for just me,
well, I said I would go with you.
oh, you'll go with me. And I figured maybe anyone else. But
It's a little more historical than the haunted house.
yeah.
So
Because they also have just like I think a regular non-haunted tour, but then I'm like, the nice thing about the photography is that you kind of can just walk around on your own and take photos. And I'm becoming, I'm ghost curious. So I'm just becoming intrigued. Like I want to do, I don't know, what kind of a ghosty thing can we do?
um
Maybe I should call the Downingtown Paranormal people and see if they'll come on or something.
that'd be cool. Or if we could like, go with them, we could stream from a thing.
I would love to.
We're almost there. Okay.
I'll come back as a full believer in ghosts.
Yeah, right.
All of my t-shirts will be ghosts themed.
Okay. The bleeding stopped, just in case you're wondering, so I'm gonna be okay. Should probably watch this though. All right, and I have candles. Gonna put a candle on, maybe two. Ugh. This is gonna be not easy or pretty, because I gotta reach in there like this.
What do you have to do?
I
Oh,
so I don't have one of those like.
oh.
So I gotta do a match, which is, or I could just drop it in.
Yeah.
And I didn't carve it in such a way that I could like reach in this way. So we're gonna see. Actually, no. Let's try the drop first because I'm not reaching in. I'm not reaching in when there's another candle burning. Okay.
This is getting me excited for my pumpkin that I don't know what I'm doing with. I'll probably make another cat. It's like the only thing I could think of.
Can you do a cat? Okay, that's good. All right. Yeah, one more. It's gonna.
Oh, so I dropped off my ballot yesterday. I have a question for anybody who's still listening. Um, I dropped off my ballot yesterday, and it's still saying. How long does it take before it says like ballot received or whatever it
Mine
says?
took like 10 days.
Oh, it did. Okay, thank God, because it keeps saying like mail-in ballot verified, meaning like I guess
that they sent it to you. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like worried about my I'm very worried about my vote counting. Especially because we're a swing state.
We are. We keep hearing Pennsylvania could decide the election.
I know. Suburban women even. Hi.
Suburban women.
Oh hey. If they count my vote.
So let's do.
Oh, it looks so good.
So let's get my lights off here. Turn that one off, and I'll turn this one off.
It looks really good. Wow. Oh, I love it.
And it's not dark enough to see like
Yeah.
the eyes, but you can see. Yeah.
It looks really good.
Thank you.
And it doubles as like an evil face as well. Like I could see
It does.
both.
Like, this is a nose.
Mhm.
So.
Love it.
And that is the time I made a spotted lanternfly. Our friend Maury was saying on my Facebook, because I posted about it, she commented that the way to make a spotted lanternfly pumpkin is to smash it because that's the only appropriate response. So I think I may have made a very smashable pumpkin. But
No.
sir.
After.
Dots. Yeah. When it's darker, the little dots will be more.
It's really cool.
You like it, Kay? You like it?
Dan said it looked terrible, and then he said, just kidding, looks good.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope Dave watched because he gave me the suggestion.
You see him watching. That's okay, though. We'll forgive him.
It's okay.
Maybe.
Let's turn my lights back on.
I feel like there's something murder. Oh, did you see the whole thing about the son from what's the show? Tool Time.
Home Improvement. Yes.
Yeah.
Zachary Ty Bryan was arrested.
Yeah, for I guess domestic violence.
Yeah.
Which son was that? Brad?
That was the oldest one, the blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Okay. Okay. I might need a bigger candle, like to illuminate. It's fine. I'll figure it out.
Outside though, it'll show up better, like in the pitch dark.
Yeah, I'll take a photo. I'll post it, and we'll have it on the grandma cookies.
If anyone has suggestions of what I should carve,
yeah,
keeping in mind that Harrison said Zachary Ty Bryant trumps it.
Do you know when I made a carve Paul Holes and I said I couldn't do justice to his blue eyes?
Aww. So yeah, I need a suggestion for mine, but it has to be like something a 10-year-old could do. That's the limit of my skills.
This is the most challenging pumpkin carve I've ever done in my life or even attempted. So usually I just freehand a scary face and hack away at it and it looks just like whatever, but
I don't know if is that what that thing is in my knife thing? Is that an ice pick? That long thing? No. I think it's a sharpener. I don't think I have an ice pick.
It might be just there's probably a very narrow knife at least, or tool.
Oh, I did have the pumpkin kit though.
Yeah.
Maybe something is in there. Okay. I was just like, oh, do I have to go buy an ice pick? No, Dina. No.
Question for that. Which of my tools are more murdery? The ice pick or the knife?
Ice pick, always.
You think it's more murdery?
Or what was that movie? What was the movie with the ice pick with Sharon Stone?
I don't remember.
Blind. Harrison will know.
Harrison will know. This is another gift from an ex-boyfriend.
He gave you an ice pick as a gift?
One that I hate, though. An ex-boyfriend that I hate. He got me an ice pick because when I moved into my little studio apartment, ice cube trays.
Oh.
And so somehow, maybe it was from the station. I was working at a radio station, and I probably got like a bag of ice from a promo thing. And I was like, oh, I need ice. I'll just take a bag of ice and use that as my ice instead of getting trays, instead of buying trays like an adult. So a bag of ice in the freezer ices to itself. And so he got me an ice pick. He could have got me ice cube trays, but
he got you a murder weapon. That's sweet.
And if I was going to murder any of the exes, it would be him.
That's funny. Why do you hate him so? Can you tell us or no?
He's a rapist.
Oh, 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 oh.
Yes. And at the time, he was my superior, and I was his direct report at the radio station where he still works today.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
So
yeah,
that's,
looking for a new job has been fun. It's been
yeah.
super, super fun.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
at least I'm my own pick.
Oh, Harrison said Fatal Attraction. Yeah, that's it.
Is it? I've
Yeah,
never seen Fatal Attraction.
I did. It's the one where she's like being questioned and she sits in a skirt and she has no underpants on.
Right, I do know
Underpants. And then she like,
that.
any luck with the job hunt?
So, radio as an industry is basically eating itself to death right now. So they keep all the big companies keep firing people.
Mm.
So I have applied for some things, but then like a week after I apply, I'll hear that they just laid off 200 more people. So
Mm.
um, I am doing voiceover work. I have a voiceover agent now, which is cool.
So cool.
Yeah. So she sends me a lot of stuff. And then this, hopefully we're trying to get to affiliate status on our Twitch channel so we can make some money here.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. Basic Instinct. Sorry. Yes, go ahead. He's right. Fatal Attraction was the rabbit on the stove.
the rabbit, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, so we need followers. If you haven't followed us, please follow. We are getting close to our threshold that we need to get affiliate status. We will follow you back and support your channel if you're also a streamer.
Yeah.
Um,
And it will mean so much to us, especially because, yeah, like like me trying to hold down two jobs is hard, and you know,
me trying
and
to find
my job, and yeah, it just helps us out a lot in doing something that we love, and then
yeah,
it being something that we could earn on should be lovely. I'm worried because, well, they say our enrollment is down, but with English teachers, like everyone has to take English. So I feel like I don't know. I don't want to say anything.
congrats on the voiceover work. Yeah, it's exciting. Christmas stuff has started. Woo!
Ooh,
Um,
like, what,
right.
like, where would we hear you? Like,
Well, you hear me if you have Spotify that you don't pay for and you get ads. You hear me.
oh, really?
Yeah,
That's so exciting. I don't, but I'm just excited.
fine. If you pay for Spotify, that's fine. That's how I get my money.
I don't use Spotify ever. I
Oh,
don't even know what it's for. It's music, but I never use it.
that's where I listen to all my podcasts.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, thank you. You
This
mentioned a couple times that you are a PetSmart manager. I'll
year.
do that stuff if I need. I will. If it gets that hard.
That's so nice. Yeah. This is like the thing I love. And teaching extra English classes is the thing I have to do that I don't want to do. I would rather do this than teach extra English classes. You'll be saving me from grading hell.
Yeah,
Great.
and and you'll get more murders. The
Hmm.
better, we'll be able to stream more and do more stuff. So yeah, this and last week we did baking, and you gave me that recipe for snickerdoodles from your teacher, from your home ec teacher, which was
Oh yeah, yeah,
I love, I love that. I love being set a challenge. So
yeah.
if anyone has a recipe that they think it would be funny to watch me try and make, we could do our own Great British Bake Off technical, or I have another pumpkin that I could carve. Gina's pumpkin. You'll have your pumpkin.
You can watch me just totally melt down and not be able to do. Like when Andrea does it and then turns around and it's like a Martha Stewart style pumpkin. I'll turn mine around and you'll be like, "Holy shit,
Oh.
what's wrong with her?" I don't know if I don't know if you guys heard it, but like, yeah, I helped my son with an art project, and the cat was even like scratching near it, like, get this freaking thing out of my face. It's
Oh.
horrible. So like, I am like I'm the kind of person that will like look at Pinterest and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make that, and then next like cut to a pile of trash and me being like, yeah,
I
I'm
love
not
those
gonna
grand ideas, and then I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
yeah. I try it, and then midway through, it's not just bad. It's like such a disaster that you wonder how somebody could fuck up that badly.
Oh, well, now I think you need to do one so that we can.
Although next week though is mischief night. So I thought we could have a mischief themed show. So anything mischief related. Like not for us to do, but to talk about, or to like if there's something like you said, pumpkin carving or whatever. you know.
Yeah, if you have any ideas, we'd love ideas for a Mischief Night show.
Mm-hmm.
I could
Mischief
like
Night.
TP the neighborhood or just TP the Trump signs and get posted about in Rockville rants and raves.
I see. I would never see this. Like, Dan's got to work. Those pets got need petting.
Right.
Um, the I would never actually do something to a sign because I'm thinking like people have cameras on their property
Yeah.
now, and like I saw some person put like Vaseline all over all their signs. Like, I just and like also I'm not into vandalism.
True.
Arson, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but vandalism. No, I'm not into arson. But I just couldn't bring myself to do that. But I can laugh at it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
funny. What's funny about Jude is that we saw the van. He didn't know the bad word, so it was fine. The almost bad word, so it was
I mean,
fine.
it technically wasn't a bad word, so.
Right. It was no word. But when we passed it, he's so sweet. He's like, Mom, that's how graffiti artists get jobs to do murals. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like,
Oh,
they do that, and then people like get to know them for their work. And I was like,
sweet.
I was just like, I don't think that guy's getting a job, but I mean, maybe I could be wrong.
We'll see a Pussy exhibition
Pussy.
of art. Maybe he was just tagging it.
Yeah, I would love it if somebody that was their game that they just put misspelled like
I swear or something.
swear something. That would be like my very, very on brand for me. Like that's something I would absolutely love. And would probably buy merchandise to go. Like I just find it just wonderful. I mean, I laughed about Pussy for
Pussy.
I'm still laughing about it. It just makes me so I call it the Pussy house now. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful mistake. Or
Oh,
not.
or
How else what better way to troll somebody than to misspell that word?
that should make them wonder whether
Yeah.
you would just swear at them or not.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. So next week, Mischief Night, and then Tuesday night, I'm telling the story, and I always say this, probably because I love stories about murder, but this one is a good story. In that it's absolutely terrible. It's absolutely upsetting. But in that
Your
way,
last one was very upsetting.
what's that?
Your last one was very upsetting.
Last one was very upsetting. This one is upsetting in a whole other way. You can't compare the upsettingness of them. This one is upsetting. And it goes in multi directions.
Cool.
So yeah, I can't wait. Basically, long story short, I'm excited.
I have to tell you, because you were talking about it last time, you made me obsessed with Best Fiends now.
Oh yes, you said that. I was
I
like,
had it for 3 days and I'm at level 102.
I'm at like 1,600 and something.
There's 4,000 levels. I know. I'm like, at least I'm not going through it too fast. It's so good. It's so good.
So good because it's like you can keep playing you can keep playing and then it's challenging enough that sometimes when you win you're like yes and then like you'll win a couple and then you'll want be stuck on one for a while so it's like it's pleasing in that way. Yeah, Best Fiends is I mean if they wanted to pay us to talk about
We don't have a podcast promo code. It's free.
it. But it is so like if you need a game for your phone that's like addictive and fun. That is, I love it. They say you could play other people, but I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I just play. Yeah, it
Um,
doesn't.
we should get a group of our murder friends together and play Among Us.
Oh, that's Jude's obsession, and he's always trying to get me into it, and I don't. I understand what it is, but yes, I would love to do that.
It's werewolf. Have you ever played werewolf at an improv party?
No, don't remember. I've never been invited to a werewolf party, and then that's not. It might not be true. It might be that I just don't go to parties because I'm a weirdo,
I
and
went to a couple parties
yeah.
and everyone plays werewolf. It's yeah.
I'm a weirdo, and I think nobody likes me, and so I don't go to parties because of myself, my anxiety and stress. It's a whole thing.
But they invited you. They wouldn't invite you if they didn't like you.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But then people stop inviting me because I don't go, and then I feel,
It's good. Oh yeah, same here. I don't go to parties. I'm a good solid maybe on your Facebook invite, which means
I'm never gonna do that. But thank you.
if we're really close and I really like you, I will click yes. But
Yeah,
then 2 days before the event, I will switch that to maybe.
I can't go places. I have like this, even some place I really want to go. Where was I just? I just had to go somewhere recently, and I was like, I don't want to go, but I did. But I did, like, it's so hard for me to want to do things. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm afraid on my deathbed, I'll be like, oh, there's like 5,000 things I should have done.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing to leave things undone because then it means you were always improving and getting better and striving and creating and thinking and
I'm afraid that on my deathbed, I'm going to say I should have done all those things, and all I wanted to do was take a nap. Like, will I be happy about all the naps I took? Like, right now, I'm delighted about all the naps I've taken,
taking naps and
but I don't know if that'll.
all the other stuff.
The other thing I said to I was talking to my ex the other day, and I said, because I hate putting clothes away. I hate
The same.
laundry. I just have a big pile of clean laundry that the cats roll in, which is so disgusting.
Same.
Um, but when I fold it, it takes me so long to put it. Like, I just have a huge stack of laundry in my closet that hasn't been put away, and I don't wear the stuff because I forget that I have it. But I said to my ex-husband, I was like putting it away the other night, and I said, I feel sometimes like all I'm doing is putting things away. Like, my whole life is about putting things away, and then when I die, Jude's just gonna have to clean out all the shit I spent my life putting away. And I was like, how is this life? Like, that is your life. You will put everything away until you die, and then someone will have to clean it out, and then
Put
why?
it somewhere else.
And then throw it away.
Yeah.
And then you think to yourself, she spent her whole life putting shit away for no reason. And so I was just like, this is sad, man. I mean, I don't mean to depress people, but that's where I am in my pandemic.
Yeah, I am always furious that I need to do chores again.
Yeah.
Like I'll cut the grass and you're like, yeah, I cut the grass. And then the grass grows and I'm like, God damn it. Like I didn't know grass grew.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm always like, how is there a pile of laundry?
Yeah.
I just did laundry. It's still sitting in the dryer. What do you mean there's more to do?
Yeah. I do that with laundry too. I put laundry away last week, but I think before that it had been many weeks. And I just do the laundry again and put the pile on top of the old pile. And then like when I needed underwear, I just go through the pile and look for it and like because I only wear the same couple of things. So
I have so many things to wear that I could probably never do laundry and just let the pile grow, but I don't have an infinite number of workout outfits and I need 5 a week. So that's how I know I need laundry is when I have when I go in the dryer and there's no more workout clothes, I know I have to do laundry. And I'm always like, oh, God damn it. And same with cat litter. I'm always like, oh, I got to change the cat litter.
yeah.
I hate that job. It is the worst job in the world. It's disgusting.
Boxers because I didn't want to do laundry. All the same. I've done
We
it.
did that in college. We would just go, we'd be like, my roommate Allison would be like, I'm out of underwear. Instead of doing laundry, we would just go buy. Oh, God. My mom would be appalled. My mom was the kind of person who did laundry every night.
That's too many nights.
Too many nights. Our house always, that's the smell of laundry reminds me of my mom because she does laundry constantly. And I just don't have it in me. I don't have it in me.
No. I saw someone on TikTok and I forget her name, so I can't shout her out, but she said, chores are not moral. Chores
Yes, I saw that.
are functional. They are functional.
Mm-hmm.
And not do it.
Something bad about yourself.
You can leave it undone. It's not moral.
Yeah. And it's not like my mom loves cleaning and loves order and like she loves organizing a closet. I do not. So like I have to stop making myself feel bad that I don't like cleaning a closet. Like it's just not what I would rather do.
Yeah. It's functional.
Because for her, she likes it. That's something that she loves to do. So that's fine, but that doesn't mean that's something that I have to love to do, which took me like my whole life to learn, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still learning it. My mother was a huge house cleaner. I think I've told you in the stream before about Alexander Clean. There's a standard of clean,
Oh.
like regular clean, and then there's Alexander Clean.
Mm-hmm.
That's my mother's maiden name and like her mom,
Mm-hmm.
sister. And it's like you could eat off any inch of the floor at any time
Right.
in that house. So my house is not like that. And I get
Right.
it from the Duffy side because Duffy women, and my friends will say this to me. They're like, "Girl, Duffy women are not housekeepers. We're just not. We're
I,
not." My grandmother was not. My two aunts are fine at it, but like, I mean, no one's house is like a sty. It's all manageable and fine. But they're like, "Don't." It's no. Duffy women are not housekeepers.
it's hard because you sort of grow up thinking like it is moral, because my mom and my grandmother are fastidious. They are the cleanest
Yeah.
people around. And so like your mom, and so like they always talked about what slobs other people were. So now in my life I'm like, well, I'm one of those, and I'm probably not that bad, but in comparison, I
I
have.
promise you, it's not that bad because um, I feel really bad because my house is not Alexander clean. But whenever people would come over to like my apartment or to here to do work,
Hmm.
like exterminators or anyone who had to come in the house, they would always say, "Wow, your house is really clean," and I'm like, "No, it's not. My mother would fall down dead if she was in my house right now." But it's because we're used to this. We get here, and we think it's so bad, but it's still above like there.
Harrison, he said he's been to my house and it is that bad. That's not true. It's just like I do. I'm always like, and you know what? I don't have it like, I know how I want it decorated. I just don't like have it done because
Yeah,
it takes a while, and stress and anxiety and all that stuff. And so like I'm constantly just feeling like not good enough. So I don't invite anybody over ever.
people
Nobody
come
ever
to visit
comes.
your house.
What's that?
People don't come to visit your house; they come to visit you.
I know, but I'm always like, if someone came here, I'd be a nervous wreck at how I'd be like apologizing for like I don't really understand how to hang pictures, and I really just think I need to hire someone to do it. So I
You could
haven't
do
done
it.
it. What's that?
You could do it. You could just put it on Task Bunny. You
Yes, I think I just need to do that, but because I haven't done that, I have like the anxiety. Everything is like, why is everything a ball of anxiety? Why can't things just be? There are people I think in the world who don't worry about things; they just do things.
I know. I don't know. They must have so much extra time in their day and so much extra energy.
To
It,
them, they just hang a picture and then they're just like, oh, I hung a picture today. To me, it's like a whole life thing. I need to hire someone, which opens up a can of worms for me. I'm like, it's a whole thing. I can't just be a person. Everything is a huge
yeah,
thing.
I have that too, and I think part of it's executive dysfunction, and it might
Hmm.
be related. It might be that, and it's definitely related to having depression.
Hmm.
Every chore that I feel like I have to do becomes huge,
Hmm.
daunting, and so I don't do it because it's
Yeah.
too big.
And I've been like, I'm deep in the ADHD TikToks because
Oh,
that's
yeah.
me. And honestly, it's helped me so much because I just learned I had ADHD like a year and a half ago. And so I just always thought I was just weird. Like I just thought like my head didn't make sense and that I had anxiety. And I'm learning that most of my anxiety is really just not knowing how to cope with like ADHD, because executive dysfunction is part of it. Like all like so many, like when I hear all the things, I'm like, oh my god, that is me. That is me. That is me. Like it's so, but you don't know. And they say a lot of women are not diagnosed with it because our symptoms are different, and
Right.
men's symptoms are, or boys symptoms are, to be like outwardly like active, and so that gets more attention, and women, it goes in
Yeah.
interior.
Yeah.
And so a lot of women are not diagnosed with it until they're adults. And then they thought something was wrong with them their whole lives. And it's not necessarily wrong. It's just your brain
It's
is
different. Yeah.
neurodiverse.
Yay, neurodiverse.
Yay. And then I'm like jealous of people who are just like, no, I feel fine today.
Yeah.
Everything's great.
Yours. I have a to-do list. I'm gonna check it off.
Yeah.
What? How
Yeah.
does that work? How do you do it?
Yeah.
So,
What do you mean cooking dinner gives you anxiety? What do you mean? That's so
although
weird.
I just upped my meds, so this time next week I might be like, I did everything.
I know. You're gonna be like, I'm fine. I feel.
I'm cured. It's the effexor. I can't even think of a thing to do because I've done all the things.
Mhm.
Yeah, probably not. Or I'll get a great placebo effect, which is fine for me.
Yeah.
Fine with me.
There was a girl on TikTok who just recently said like she was on medication and she thought it was for depression and anxiety, and it was like it wasn't. It was like something that was like basically a she thought she was on, so she thought she was feeling great from her medication, and it was literally like a medication that had nothing to do with it.
You want to come sit? You want to come sit? No. Okay. Sorry, the dog is. My son needs attention. My son, the dog.
Aww.
Oh, do you want to come sit? You can come sit. We're not playing right now.
By the way, it's because of you that now I'm obsessed with TikTok now, and I'm happy about it. I feel like it's a positive in
I
my.
love it. I love it so much. Although I do lose a lot of time doom scrolling in it.
Oh
So
my god!
I need to do
Sometimes,
one of those things where you set a timer and then you stop.
sometimes I want to lose time.
Yes, boss, I'm gonna. No, actually, I will get for you. I will get his favorite toy. Hold on, hold on. Where's your thing?
What could it be? A dead body? A
Yeah.
human arm?
He likes the lead pipe from the conservatory. Spencer's favorite toy is. You're so excited. The laser tape measure.
Oh,
So much. You can hear him running back and forth. That's him running back and forth. And I put it on one wall, I put it on the other wall. He runs back and forth.
oh, baby.
Okay. Do you have extra energy, sir? All right. Okay. Go get it. No? Okay. You done? Are you done? You want it on the ceiling? He also likes to bark at it when it's on the ceiling, so maybe he'll bark. Speak? No? Okay. Okay. That's fine.
It's like I'm not your. What do I entertain? I'm your entertainment? No, thank
I'm
you.
not your cast member. My cat loves the laser. She makes me play every time I come from work. My cat does not really care about it. Well, let's find out. Actually, he does. Like he'll chase it a little bit, but the dog actually asks if we can play with the laser. Like
Oh,
he has a way that he asks. Oh, he just ran over again. You want a kitty? Oh yeah, oh yeah. No,
oh.
we didn't want to play with it anymore. All right, do you wanna run it? Okay, we're over there. My son's. Okay, I'll put it on the window. Okay. And we have a routine too. So I put it on the dining room wall and he chases it there, and then I put it on a window and he stands on the couch. Yeah, I know. He's okay. What? You sat down. You're done. And then he's done.
I haven't tried the laser with my cats. My other cat, my cats that passed away, loved the laser, but my one cat would get like too excited. She would just get too much. She would get overloaded. So I haven't tried with these two suckers. It's like if you give a 9-year old a laser to play with a cat, it's like crazy playing with crazy. It's not good. Because like neither of them know how to stop. They just know how to escalate. Yeah.
Well, I can't reach your ball when it's all the way over there, bud. He knows drop it, and he likes to play fetch.
Oh.
And when we go to the dog park, he will find a ball and I'll throw it for him, and then he will bring it back to a different person every time in the dog park and put it at their feet and sit down and smile up at them like, your turn to throw it for me. And it's so strange. And his other favorite thing to do at the dog park is sit on people's laps.
Oh.
None of these things are with dogs.
What a sweetheart.
Yeah, he's the best dog. Come here. Do you want to sit? You don't want to sit up here? You can see. He's all over my social media. You can see him. I'm at Andrea on the air on most everything. And I would love a follow. That's how me and you know each other, and how I got that snickerdoodle recipe. Such a great guard dog. Listen, he would not be a good guard dog. He thinks he's really tough because he growls at people who are walking by the window. But that's just because they're not in the house petting him.
Just like me when I was a kid, just walk off with anybody.
Oh yeah.
No worries. Yeah.
He gets petted a lot when we go out walking. more, more before the pandemic. But people need to pet him like all of the time. So once he knows he's getting pets, he immediately drops to the ground and rolls over to ask for belly rubs from a complete
Oh,
stranger in the middle of the sidewalk.
oh.
Like,
He probably doesn't understand what's happening now. He's probably like, "What? Why did the world change? I used to get all this attention, and
yeah,
now nobody can touch anybody else."
I know. Well, I used to take him places too where he would get to have fun with people, but
Yeah, it's sad.
he
My
was
cats,
doing
you know,
great.
my cats think this is great because I'm home all the time, and they're just like, "This is the best thing in the world." But dogs get to go out and see that something's. I'm sure that they sense it. Whereas my cats are just like, "Cool, she must have lost her job because she's always here."
Well, so the dog, it's so funny. He will go if I'm downstairs. He will go upstairs and take a nap in the middle of the day.
Oh,
At night, he goes up to take a nap before we go out for our end of the day walk.
hmm.
He's very like I'm not worried about him if I ever go back to a normal job.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
cat has not left my side basically since the day I got fired. The cat is my quarantine cat. He thinks that we are both indoor cats.
Hmm.
I'm another indoor cat. We are a bonded pair. He is literally right here, right now. He's laying on my dining room table watching me. Um,
Yep. I said that to Jude today. I said to Jude, like, look at these two, because everywhere I go, they're just sitting staring at me. Like any room I walk into, and sometimes I walk into the room and they're already there, but they were just there, and I'm like, how did you do that? Like, are there multiple pairs of you? Because they're just everywhere that I am. They never, except for like sometimes, like now Bodhi's next to me and Zelda's sleeping because I'm not like moving around the house. But like during a regular day, they're whatever I do, they are with me. It's like it's so when I go back, I don't know what they're gonna do. They're going to be really bummed out
yeah, I
because
don't know. I had to get him an office in my office because he is just, and usually he wants to be in the voiceover booth with me. I made a booth out of my closet, and the cat will scratch at the door till I open it.
oh,
Then he sits in there, and I'm like, you can't meow at me. I have outtakes, and I've posted them on my YouTube. Andrea on the air is my YouTube. You can hear some cat outtakes. um, the one, and it's like basically we talk to each other, and and it records on the microphone. So I'm like trying to work, and he comes in, and I'm like, can you please just be quiet? Meow. Like, you're not gonna meow. I'm like, okay. So
gotta love the pets. Honestly, like that's like honestly Jude and my pets. It's the joy in my life, and this honestly, this is truly a joy in my life. But so are like the pets and Jude. Like without them, without all this stuff, it's just like I wouldn't be able to get through. Oh, Dan said he's not listening to your station since he found out that you got fired.
oh,
Solidarity. I like that.
thank you so much for telling me that. It's been really hard. Um,
I won't. I mean, I did at Christmas time because I have satellite, but I would tune in at Christmas to like hear like because I would go back and forth to hear whatever Christmas song I like better. But like now I will refuse to this season.
it was on in my doctor's office when I went last week, and she was like, banned, banned. She was like, because she checked my blood pressure and it had gone down when she checked it from when I first got it with the nurse. And she's like, oh, sometimes like you get up, you walk down the hallway, maybe it goes up a little. I was like, well, I was sitting in the waiting room listening to the radio station that fired me. That's why it was high. She's like, they're banned. But a weird thing, and I'm not doing this on purpose, and you're allowed to listen to whatever station you want, everyone. Like, do you, it's fine. I don't need, Um, I keep like when I go to the doctor's offices and like dentists and medical offices of any kind are B101's biggest like listeners. It's
Oh,
it's just on. Like they're are the typical offices that have it on. So every day, like I'll go to my doctor or any kind of medical person that I see, and they notice that I have a marketplace health insurance account right now, and they're like, "Oh, you switched?" I'm like, "No, I got fired." And they're like, "Oh." And then, like, so many doctors' offices have switched their radio station.
that's so cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's
Solidarity,
a couple
baby.
people have reached out and said, like, some people replied to the station's Twitter, like, I'm not never listening again until,
Aw.
which is It's thank you. Like you don't have to do that. If you would rather listen, that's fine. But thank
I
you.
got satellite. I'm fine.
You're
I'm
fine.
fine. And I have all my podcast friends, my
Right.
invisible friends.
That's right. Uh,
Don't know I exist.
yeah. But that's why we started this stream because like that's what Crime and Cookies came from. And when we used to do it live,
Mm-hmm.
like we talk back to the podcasts and we are having a conversation with these people who don't know us. So why not have a conversation with all of those other people who are doing that and like actually
Mm-hmm.
know each other?
And actually get to talk, yeah, and actually get to like say what you're feeling about what you're hearing and have people talk back to you and say what they're feeling. Because like when you talk to a podcaster, they don't take your feelings into consideration.
Right. They just keep telling the story. They don't even pause.
It's almost like I'm not even there to them.
All right. Well, shall we wrap it on up?
Yeah, it's almost 9. People want to go watch their oh, Dan said he loves our show. That's
Oh,
very
thanks
sweet.
so much. Thank you so much. Well, I mean, thank you for giving us that snickerdoodle recipe. That
I
story.
know, right?
Yeah. So anybody else, if you haven't hit the follow, please follow. If you're a stranger, we really appreciate it. We love each and every one of you.
Mm-hmm.
You will be back on Tuesday.
Tuesday with my very, very dark story.
Gina's gonna tell an amazing one.
I shouldn't be. I'm joking. It's really terrible, and I don't think it's funny at all. But I think that me pretending to think it's funny is funny.
Right. Like we're not like woo murder, but we're like ooh, it's the story anyway.
I have no. I have. I've lost my mind.
We have a suggestion box in our about, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna redo it. There's gonna be a lot more stuff there. But if you have a case that you want us to talk about, if you have a favorite one that you like talking about, we'll do it and
Mhm.
we'll talk you out. And we'll
If
let you know.
you
So you can
if
come
you have
on.
ideas for like our happy hours, like challenges or stuff you want us
Yeah.
to talk shows you want us to talk about, if like I said, if you want to go on Amazon Prime, any free show on Amazon Prime, we can do a watch party for. So that's something that I'm working on is collecting some titles of some middling shows that we can make fun of, or some good ones that we could be like, ooh, I
Yeah.
love. Um, just anything. And Mischief Night, like I said, next week. Is there anything mischievous you want us to cover or talk about or
Yeah.
do?
And you can also get us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Crime and Cookies. And we love
Here
to
comes Bodie, right on time.
cat time. It's cat time.
It's like it's almost time for me to make my appearance.
He's like the little title slide at the end of the credits on a TV show.
Hi, I see you. Am I not close enough to you? Hi. Hello, I see you. Here, you want to be on? There you go.
So yeah, well thanks for watching me carve my pumpkin too. This is very
Oh
fun.
yeah, fun.
Yeah, so also I'm gonna take a dark picture of this and I'll post it to the Crime and Cookies. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, have an awesome weekend. I hope it's so fun. I hope you
Yeah.
do a lot of things you like and get a lot of downtime and naps. You're allowed. Enjoy
Mm-hmm.
them. Do 5 fewer chores than you intended to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we will see you Tuesday.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
Bye.